Today, we're making ham hock soup with daikon and glass noodles. Ham hock is the extreme shank end of the leg bone. It's where the leg meets the trotter. It's full of skin and connective tissue. When you cook it low and slow, no matter how you cook it, it's gonna bring you so much sticky collagen. And it's a relatively cheap cut of meat. This could easily feed a family of 4. So ham hock comes mainly in 3 forms: completely untouched, brined in salt, which is our case, or smoked and brined in salt. For the soup, I would either use the untouched version or the brine in salt version. So, to get the ham hock ready for cooking, we first boil it on its own. Cold pot, whole thing goes in. We cover it with water. This would get rid of the excess salt, the myoglobin, the illusion of blood, and it would make the broth a bit clearer. Tiny bit of ginger. And we bring this to a boil. While we do that, we'll prep some ginger for the actual soup. You want to keep them chunky because you're going to take them out later. 1 large scallion goes into the soup, just the white bit, and we prep the daikon. If you can't find daikon, you can use turnip. It adds a wonderful sweetness that's not overpowering. How you cut the daikon depends on when you want to put this thing in. If you're lazy like me and want to put them in from the get-go, I'd keep them quite chunky. Otherwise, you could dice them and add them in for the last 30 minutes of cooking. The daikon's ready. We'll toast some white peppercorn, a la Charcutier style. This is completely optional. If you're gonna use spices, toast them on the stove briefly beforehand for them to release their fragrance. It will make a massive difference. Medium-high heat until you can smell the white peppercorn from here. You don't want to burn them. The inspiration of the dish came from a ham documentary I was watching the other day. But apparently all the ham masters, they saved the ham hock for themselves and they just boiled them. And it looks so tasty, so I thought, why not? Now that we can smell the white peppercorn, that's ready to go. I like to use a tea bag, just making it easier to fish them out later. This is really hot now, so be careful. Once it's boiling, you give it about 3 minutes, and then we're gonna rinse the ham hock in running water to get rid of all the impurities. All right, this looks good to me. We're gonna drain it. Now, we have a very clean piece of ham. To that, we're gonna add our ginger, scallion, daikon, and the toasted white peppercorn. We also have some coriander here, which we're gonna add the stalks at the very end. That would give it a lot of brightness and crunch, and they go really well with the glass noodles. Now, because the ham is salted, we're not gonna add salt to this, and we'll adjust the seasoning at the end. So we just cover it with water, once again, bring this to a boil. Once it starts to bubble, lid on. You lower the heat to medium, and you cook it for about 3 hours, until you could easily push the fork through the whole thing without any resistance. I'll see you then. Alright, after 3 hours, we have some finishing touches. First, we're going to soak the vermicelli. Today I'm using rice vermicelli for a softer taste, but if you want a bouncier texture, then I would use bean vermicelli. And we're going to prepare some coriander. If you don't like coriander, by the way, just for some brightness and contrast, I would use celery. Now, the stalks of the corianders are full of flavors, and they go so well with the ham hock and the vermicelli. Now we drain the vermicelli and run it under cold water. Beautiful. Just to make sure, put your fork straight through to the bone with almost no resistance. We're going to transfer this briefly to a plate to cool down just enough for us to carve it. Perfect. As you can see, not that much fat at all, and it has taken on this beautiful white and gold color. Vermicelli goes in. The stalks go in now, and we just put this on low heat to soak for about 5 minutes. Now, the fun bit is that you take the bone, twist, and it's out. You really just want them closer to bite size because they fall apart very easily anyway. Now, these go back to the wonderful broth. Be careful, it's gonna splash a bit. The coriander really became very fragrant. The noodles have softened. Let's plate one, shall we? Take some vermicelli. Take some daikon. This is just so beautiful. More broth than you think you need. It's optional. A bit of chili oil. And there you have it. Ham hock soup with daikon. I really hope you enjoy.